Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krišna Krišna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krišna Krišna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krišna Krišna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krišna Krišna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krišna Krišna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krišna Krišna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful kirtan. Her good name? Subhadra Mataji. So, dear devotees, kindly let's give thanks to Subhadra Mataji for the wonderful kirtan by chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful kirtan. Welcome, dear devotees, for the evening talk. We'll begin with Jai Radha Madhav, and then I'll speak something on the secret of Krishna's birth and activities. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhare Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhare Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. So Prabhu, it's till what time? The talk is till what time? 8 o'clock? Oh wow. That's nice. So we have good amount of time today. Fine. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for once again assembling here. I am very thankful, Ananta Prabhu, that you kindly invited me here, and this is a very nice opportunity to speak to like-minded devotees. Panchabhihi sah sthatavyam gantavyam panchabhihi sah vaktavyam na dukkham panchabhihi sah. It is said panchabhihi sah sthatavyam. If you want to stay at one place, stay with at least 5 people. That way, if you have a disagreement, quarrel or argument with one person, there are 4 other people you can speak to. Gantavyam panchabhihi sah. If you are traveling somewhere, travel with at least 5 people. So if you fall into some difficulty, there are 5 people to protect you. And panchabhihi sah vaktavyam. If you want to speak something, how many people should be there in the audience? But so many are there here today. Na dukkham. There is no unhappiness at all. There is all happiness if at least 5 are present, but so many more are present, at least 25 to 30 are there. My happiness is multiplied 6 times. Thank you, dear devotees. Simply by the quantity in which you have come here, you have made the program successful. You are the main reason for the success of the program. Thank you so much for kindly being present here today. Today we are discussing the secret of Krishna's birth and activities. But before we begin that discussion, dear devotees, I'd like to continue the Shishta Parampara, the tradition established by the previous Acharyas, to begin with Mangalacharan, auspicious invocations. I'll sing a few verses to ensure auspiciousness. Most of you know these verses, you can kindly sing along with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So welcome once again, dear devotees. We are trying to discuss a subject matter which is so essential for our spiritual life. Krishna has promised in the Gita that anybody who understands this subject matter will not have to take birth again in this material world. On every Janmashtami, there is a particular verse from the Bhagavad Gita that is discussed. And this verse has been spoken by Krishna, and this verse is in front of us. Please repeat after me. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन. This verse is in the 4th chapter of the Gita. It's the 9th verse where Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. My janma, dear devotees, what is the meaning of janma? Birth or appearance. And what is the meaning of karma? Activities. Janma karma cha, my birth and activities are divyam. Divyam means they are transcendental. Evam, in this way, yo veti, one who understands in this way. But tatvatah, and I have highlighted that term tatvatah, one who understands through proper shastra and tattva, through proper scriptures and through proper philosophical understanding. Tyaktva deham, when such a person gives up his or her body, punar janma na eti, he doesn't undergo a birth again. Mameti, but he attains me, Arjuna, dear Arjun. So this is the translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So dear devotees, how many of us wish to attain this result, don't want to take birth again in this miserable world? Please raise your hands. See, it was a trick question in the morning. So, all right, but it is very important to also focus on statements like these which encourage us to get out of the material world. The material world is already a very difficult place, and Krishna is promising that one who understands his birth and activities as being divyam, not ordinary birth and activities, but transcendental birth and activities, such a person upon quitting his or her body will not take birth again in this world. So that sounds like a very interesting thing, but it is very important to understand in tattva from philosophical conclusions. So dear devotees, I would like to today explain the janma, the birth, and the karma, activities of Bhagavan, but I have somebody to Help me explain it. Dear devotees, would you like to hear an explanation of the birth and activities of Krishna from Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada? Because once you understand from his point of view, you are sure that you have understood tattvataha in philosophical conclusions. Nothing will remain after we understand the philosophical truth from Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada. So Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada in his Sandarbhas has explained this verse, how Krishna's birth and activities are transcendental. Dear devotees, in this material world, all material objects undergo 6 changes. And you have to pay close attention because this topic is related to the most important thing of this life, getting out of this world. If you miss this point today, whatever is being spoken, I don't know if you will be able to hear this again. Jai. Shri Panchatattva ki jai. So please hear with close attention, because on this point Krishna has promised in the Gita that you will not take birth again. Dear devotees, in the material world you take any material object. For example, this glass which is made out of a metal. All material objects undergo 6 changes. And I will name those 6 changes, and you please think in your mind if all these 6 changes are happening all around us. First change in Sanskrit is called jayate. Something takes birth or it comes into existence. At one point of time, this glass was produced. It was not existing at one point of time, suddenly it was produced at one point of time. First change is to take birth in this world. All of us are material bodies. One point of time we suddenly found ourselves in this world. So dear devotees, the first change in this world is to take birth. Second is asti. It exists for some time. Third is vardhate. It increases. Somebody may apply some paint on it. Somebody may apply some design on it. Otherwise, if it simply stays in one place, dust will fall on it, but its size will increase. Fourth is viparinamate. It undergoes some transformation. It starts getting old, its color changes. Fifth is apakshiyate. It starts gradually getting destroyed. And sixth is nashyati. It is finally fully destroyed. These are the 6 changes that take place in every material object. You can see this even with your own body. I will ask you a question. I will ask you questions. Please reply with yes or no. First change, jayate, taking birth. Did the body, material body, take birth at a certain point of time? Yes. Okay. Asti. Does it exist for a certain point of time? Yes. Vardhate. Did it increase in size? Yes. Of course, when you grew up, you increase in size. Fourth, viparinamate. Did it get transformed and maybe the color, features, characteristics change over time? Fifth, apakshiyate. Gradually it starts getting dwindled and starts getting destroyed. Yes or no? Yes. And sixth change, nashyati. Finally it is fully destroyed. Dear devotees, all material objects have 6 changes, beginning with the first change, which is birth. Janma. When Krishna appeared in this world, dear devotees, did Krishna take birth? Yes or no? Yes. Did Krishna exist for some time? Did Krishna's bodily size increase? Did Krishna's body undergo some transformations of size and shape? At one point of time, Krishna disappeared from this world. Yes? So Krishna's body should be material in nature, isn't it? From all the characteristics, it seems that Krishna's body is the same as our body. Yes? So devotees are little afraid to say yes. Because Krishna has said in the Gita, my birth is transcendental, divyam. It is not ordinary birth. So how is Krishna's birth not ordinary birth if all the changes were seen in Krishna's body? Dear devotees, in order to answer this question, I would like to ask another important question. Does God take birth? We are in a big philosophical contradiction. If God takes birth, then he will undergo the first material transformation. And if he doesn't take birth, then he will not be able to exhibit pastimes in the world. I hope you are able to understand. Both sides there is a problem. So what should God do? Should he take birth or should he not take birth? He takes birth. So the answer of this question is given by, in the prayers of Gajendra, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 8th canto, there is a very nice verse by Gajendra, where Gajendra speaks something. For those of us who don't know, Gajendra was an elephant, but he was a devotee. And after a lot of suffering, he was rescued by Bhagavan. And when he was rescued from his suffering by the Supreme Lord, he offered many prayers. One of the prayers which he offered is as follows. I will sing the verse, please repeat after me. Na vidyate yasya cha janma karma va na nama rupe guna dosha eva va तथापि लोकाप्यय संभवाय स्वमायया तान्यनुकालं मृच्छते अनुकालं मृच्छते Na vidyate yasya cha janma karma va. The Supreme Lord does not have any birth. Na janma, na karma. You can see in the first line. Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. My birth and activities are transcendental. Gajendra says, you don't have a birth and you don't have activities. Na nama. Actually, there is no name that you have. Na rupa. You don't have a form. Guna dosha. You don't have qualities or defects. Tathapi. Still, even though you don't have a birth, even you don't have activities, loka apyaya sambhavaya, in order to protect this world, in order to create and destroy this world, Swamayaya, through your own internal potency, Yogamaya, Anukalam Richati, You accept a birth and you accept activities. So in short, what Gajendra is saying is, you don't have a birth, you don't have janma, you don't have karma. But you accept janma and karma by your own maya, by your own sweet will. So this is a contradiction. He doesn't have a birth, Jai. Shri Panchatattva ki Jai. He doesn't have a birth, yet he accepts a birth. He doesn't have activities, yet he performs activities. Isn't this a contradiction, dear devotees? 100%. There are many such contradictions present within Bhagavan Shri Krishna. I will give you an example of this. Many of us might have heard about the mantra of Sri Narsimha Dev. Those who know, you can sing along with me. Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Nrisimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityum Namamyaham. Ugram, he is very fierce. Is Bhagwan very fierce? Yes or no? As Narsimha Dev he is. But in front of Mother Yashoda, is he Ugram or Unugram? Not fierce. Not fierce. Viram is very brave. But when Mother Yashoda shows the stick, he is Viram or Aviram? Aviram. He becomes cowardly. Yesterday we had seen how in outside Sri Radha's courtyard, he was calling out like a cuckoo. That is Viram or Aviram? Aviram. Mahavishnum, he is the great all-pervading Lord. At the same time, he has a limited small-sized form in front of Mother Yashoda. When Mother Yashoda tried to tie him, he first showed his Mahavishnu strength. He refused to be tied down. Later, he agreed to be tied down. Sarvato Mukham, his face is in all directions. If that is true, why did he not look at Mother Yashoda when she was chasing him? I hope you are able to understand. The conclusion is as follows. Krishna has simultaneously opposite qualities present within him. I hope you are able to understand. Krishna has simultaneously opposite qualities present within him. He can be fierce yet gentle at the same time. He can be all pervasive, present everywhere, yet present at one place. This is the nature of Shri Krishna. Dear devotees, in the Western world, philosophers who wanted to argue against God came up with a problem. It is called the stone paradox. Has anybody heard of the stone paradox? Yes? Can you describe what is the stone paradox?
I'm embarrassed. I cannot answer.
Okay.
Well, if God is Almighty, can He lift a stone? Can He create a stone that He cannot lift?
Wonderful. So the problem is as follows. Can God create an object such as stone so heavy that He is unable to lift it? Because philosophers imagined if there is a God, He should be able to create a stone which is so heavy that He is not able to lift it. And both answers are problematic. If yes, if God can create a stone which He cannot lift, then God is not omnipotent, because God cannot lift His own creation. And no, if God cannot create such a stone, then also God is not omnipotent, because there is something which God cannot create. I hope you are able to understand the problem. In the Western world, this is known as the stone paradox. It is not yet resolved. Philosophers are still trying to search for an answer. Dear devotees, the Srimad Bhagavatam gives an answer to the stone paradox. Would you like to hear? In the 10th canto, it is described. Please repeat after me. Bibharti kvachidagyapta Pīṭhakonman padukam Bahukshepam chakurute Svanam cha pritimavahan. This is when Krishna was very small. Sometimes Mother Yashoda and her gopi friends would tell Krishna, bring this thing, bring this article, bring that thing. Sometimes they would order him to bring a wooden plank, wooden shoes, or a wooden measuring pot. And Krishna, when thus ordered by the mothers, would try to bring them. Sometimes, however, as if unable to raise these things, he would touch them and stand there. This is an example of an object which God created but God cannot lift. Isn't it? And this is an example also of an object that God created and He lifted. Which pastime is this, dear devotees? Govardhan. But that is not the answer to the philosopher, this stone paradox. The actual answer is given somewhere else. In the pastime where the ocean was churned by the demigods and demons, they used the heaviest object in the universe, the Mandar mountain, to churn it. And can you see who is lifting the Mandar mountain? Kurma. Bhagavan is lifting. And can you see who is sitting on top of the mountain? Bhagavan. So the answer is as follows. Bhagavan can create and lift a stone on which he is himself sitting. I hope you are able to understand. This secret should remain with the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Don't give it out. So Bhagavan can also lift his own self. That is the answer to the stone paradox. And if he wants, he may not be able to lift even simple objects like shoes, etc. The conclusion is that Bhagavan has simultaneously opposite qualities harmonized within him. So, dear devotees, Bhagavan doesn't take birth. Because, see here, there is a very nice thing explained here. How can Bhagavan's birth, because we said he has opposite qualities, how can his birth simultaneously be possible and impossible? So Gajendra has said his birth is impossible because he is eternally situated in his constitutional position and nobody can force him to take birth according to laws of karma. Does Krishna take birth according to laws of karma, or does Krishna take birth according to his own sweet will? Own sweet will. So he accepts a birth by his own sweet will in this material universe. Now, dear devotees, taking birth is an activity. I am repeating the sentence. Taking birth is an activity. Every activity has a beginning or end and an end. For example, cooking. Is cooking an activity? It begins at one point of time and ends at one point of time. Every activity has many smaller activities within it. Please hear carefully, dear devotees. Every activity has many smaller activities within it. For example, cooking is a big activity. Inside cooking, there are smaller activities. For example, taking a vessel is one small activity. Filling it with water is another small activity. Cutting vegetables is another small activity. Adding some spices is another activity. And then putting it on the fire is another activity. And then stirring it is another activity. All of these activities combined is known as one activity. And what is it known as? Cooking. Dear devotees, in the case of Krishna, Bhagavan, Krishna has unlimited forms, unlimited replicas of unlimited forms, unlimited replicas of unlimited abodes in the material world, unlimited associates. So when one birth pastime of Krishna has not ended in one universe, it has already started in another universe. Those of you who found it little difficult, I will explain with a very simple example of cooking. You can see a lady is cooking here. Look properly at the activity. She is cooking flatbread, chapatis or rotis. When she manages to cook one, the second chapati is already on the stove. By the time she will cook that, a new chapati will already be on the stove. By the time she finishes that, another chapati will be on the stove. This activity is going on constantly, or does it have an end? She is cooking many chapatis, but it is a constant process, dear devotees. Similar is Krishna's birth. Krishna's birth in one universe has ended, but before that birth has ended, Krishna has already started taking birth in another universe. By the time that birth ends, Krishna has already started taking birth in a third universe. So dear devotees, please tell me, Krishna's taking birth is a one-time activity or continuous activity? Our taking birth is one-time activity or continuous activity? We took birth once. Right now I am not taking birth anywhere. I have taken birth more than 35 years ago. I have taken birth. There is a difference between our taking birth and Krishna's taking birth. At this point of time, is Krishna taking birth? Tomorrow morning, will Krishna be taking birth? Where? In some universe, dear devotees. Day after tomorrow, will Krishna be taking birth? At every point of time, all activities of Krishna are going on in some universe. Therefore, Janma, Karma, cha me divyam. My birth and activities are transcendental for two reasons. First is, Krishna is not forced according to laws of karma to take birth. Second is, Krishna's birth and activities are a constantly ongoing process. They are not a one-time activity. How many tiles can you see, dear devotees? 4. You can see the border between the 4 tiles. Because there is a border, you can see 4 different tiles. Now, dear devotees, how many tiles do you see? 1. How many tiles do you see? How many tiles do you see? This is the nature of Krishna's birth. By the time one birth has ended, other births have started in other universes. By the time those have ended, other births have already started in other universes. So Krishna's taking birth is one continuous activity or separate activities? One continuous activity, because you cannot make out the difference. Therefore, when Krishna appeared in the 10th canto, Shukadeva Goswami described something. This is the verse which describes Krishna's appearance in the 10th canto. Please repeat after me. Devakyam Devarupinyam Vishnu Sarva Guhashayah Avirasid Yatha Prachyam Dishinduriva Pushkalah. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of light, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon. Did you notice something, dear devotees, about the analogy? Is the moon rising at this point of time? Somewhere in the world it is. I hope you are able to understand. Is the moon arising at this point of time? May not be in front of our eyes, but somewhere in the world. Therefore, the analogy that Shukadeva Goswami gave, Krishna appeared like the moon on the eastern horizon, because the moon is always appearing somewhere on the eastern horizon. That is the nature of Krishna's birth. It is a constantly ongoing process, never stopping. This is Krishna's birth. Never forget, dear devotees, it is tattvataha. This understanding was given from a tattva point of view. If you simply keep this understanding till the moment of death, you will fulfill Krishna's condition. Krishna has said, Evam yo veti, one who simply understands, theoretically understands. For such a person, there is no taking birth again. So, dear devotees, congratulations, you fulfilled half of Krishna's conditions. Krishna's birth is transcendental. Now, the second part. Karma. Krishna's activities are transcendental. This is a very short and simple point to understand, but first and foremost we have to understand what is karma. So Sri Jiva Goswami tells us what is karma. Dear devotees, please repeat after me what Sri Jiva Goswami says. Apurnasya Nija Purti Artha Cheshta Karma iti. I want all of you to think about this definition of karma that Sri Jiva Goswami has given. Jiva Goswami says, Apurnasya, any person, any animal, any entity who is feeling incomplete in any way, Nija Purti Artha Cheshta, whatever activities they do to make themselves fulfilled is called karma. Think about this definition. A person who is feeling incomplete in any way, whatever bodily or mental movements they make to make themselves fulfilled is known as what? Karma. Do you like this definition? An incomplete person, whatever activities that they perform in order to make themselves complete. Now please tell me, dear devotees, is God incomplete in any way? God is not supposed to be incomplete in any way. So does God need to perform karma? No. Still God performs karma. Did Krishna lift Govardhan? Did he create the universe? Why did he perform karma if he was not feeling incomplete? Why did God create the world? Huh? For living entities? Which? Okay. For fun. My question is, what incompleteness was God experiencing that he created the world? Because if he was experiencing incompleteness, he will not be God. By definition, God is complete or incomplete? Complete. If he is complete, fulfilled in all ways, then he will not do anything. Sri Jiva Goswami says, and Prabhu, you came very much on point with this. There is a sutra in the Vedanta Sutra which answers this question. Please repeat after me. Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. His activities are nothing but his pastimes. Sri Jiva Goswami gives an example. Please repeat after me. Srishthyadikam harirnaiva prayojanam apekshatu kurute kevalanandad yatha mattasya nartanam. Srishti adikam, creation, etc. Harir naiva, Krishna does not do it prayojanam, by any purpose. Kurute keval anandat, he does it only out of joy. Yatha mattasya nartanam. Now I will give an example. Jiva Goswami says, for example, some person, he is sitting at one place, suddenly he starts feeling happy. First stage of happiness will be seen on his face. What will happen suddenly if he feels happy? Smile. Alright? Suppose he reads a message on the phone, you have cleared the toughest examination in Slovenia and you are rank 1 in the country. Alright? The first reaction will be smile. And then more happiness. And the government has given you a scholarship of €500,000 euros. Then that smile will change into, laughter. And you're also going to get a free house from the government. Then it changes into dancing, dear devotee. So, when this person is dancing, at this point of time, somebody should ask him, hey, wait. Why are you dancing? Are you feeling dancing to fulfill some incompleteness? He'll say, no. I am fully complete now. I am dancing because I am so happy. I couldn't find a better expression of my happiness other than to dance. So, yatha mattasya nartanam. Exactly as the dancing of an overjoyed person. Similarly, Krishna's activities are like that. So he does not create the world, does not destroy the world because of some incompleteness within him. He simply does it because of his overflowing joy. Now this raises a very big question. Krishna, your joy and our suffering, isn't it? Huh? Does it make logical sense that you are happy and we suffer in your creation? But I will answer that. But dear devotees, just like a joyous person starts dancing without any incompleteness, similarly, Krishna performs all his activities simply out of joy, not in order to fulfill any incompleteness. Dear devotees, after Krishna created this world this world is filled with suffering or enjoyment or both? Both. Some living entities get enjoyment. Some living entities receive suffering. Why did Bhagavan create such a world where some living entities receive suffering, some living entities receive enjoyment? Is God partial towards some living entities? Yes or no? Well, if I go to a very poor country and ask a beggar on the street, is God partial towards? Maybe they will say yes. Because Bhagavan, God did not give me those equal opportunities that people who are born in privileged places have. I did not have the same opportunities. But in actuality, God is not partial, neither is God cruel. There is a Vedanta Sutra which specifies exactly that. Vaishamya nairghrinya na tu sapekshatvat. There is no biased nature, no cruelty in God. And the Acharyas such as Sri Jiva Goswami explain with an example. Dear devotees, I am giving an example. Please hear carefully. The Acharyas say God or Bhagavan is parjanyavat, like rainfall. Dear devotees, when rainfall falls in a particular country, does it partially have a bias, I will fall here and not fall here, or does it fall equally everywhere? Please tell me. Equally. So when rainfall falls equally in all the places, rainfall also falls in the ocean where water is not needed. Rainfall also falls in the desert, sometimes in a desert area where water is needed. Rainfall is equal to all places. But after rain has fallen, in certain places you will see that a very thorny tree comes up because of the rainfall. In certain other places you will see that a beautiful lotus flower comes after the rainfall. Is it the fault of the rainfall that in certain places a thorny bush came out and in a certain places a lotus flower came out? Then what is the result of the difference in the situation? In some places a thorny tree grows because of rainfall. In some places nice basmati rice, first class rice grows because of rainfall. What was the difference in both places? Seed. I hope you are able to understand what was different. Seed. Similarly, different living entities have different seeds from their past lives. Krishna simply acts as the rainfall to fructify those seeds that they have planted themselves in their past lives. Let me give another example. Somebody who is not grateful towards their parents, please tell me, in their next life, do they deserve to have good parents? Somebody who is not grateful towards their teachers, in their next life, do they deserve to have good teachers? So some people have planted a seed in their own past life. Bhagavan simply acts as rainfall to fructify that seed. And some people have planted very good seeds in their past lives. And Bhagavan acts as rainfall to fructify those seeds. Bhagavan is falling joyously like rainfall. His activities are purely out of his joy. The reactions that the living entities are receiving is because of the tendency of the living entities from the past lives. In this way, Bhagavan is not biased, nor is Bhagavan cruel. He has created the world with equal amounts of enjoyment and suffering, so that the living entities can receive the result of the seeds that they have planted in their past lives. This, dear devotees, is how Krishna's birth and activities are transcendental in nature. Alright? So I will pause my speech, dear devotees, at this point of time, and we have good amount of time to discuss question and answers. So thank you very much. Yadatra skhalitam kinchid vidvam sah purayantu tat, yadatra saushthavam kinchid tad guroreva me nahi. Yadatra Skhalitam Kinchit. If I made a mistake in speaking something, Vidvamsah. You are learned devotees, Purayantu Tat. Please correct any mistakes. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit. But if there is anything nice in the presentation, please remember. Tad Guru Reva. I learnt everything from my previous gurus, including how to write the alphabet. I learnt from my gurus. May nahi. It is not mine. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. All right. So now is the time to ask a few questions. Yes.
Can I say without mic?
Mic is there?
So now you will repeat what she will say. So
Yeah, that I'll do. But if there is a mic, then there will be no need of there is no mic. All right. So please say.
Thank you so much. Many times people are bringing this argument that this analogy that you kindly were saying about the rain, who is equal to all the situations and places, is not applicable to the creation because God is the creator, but rainfall is not the creator of different places. And where the first seeds are coming, that's the common question.
All right. So her question is, the analogy doesn't seem to be exactly applicable because I gave the analogy of rainfall. And when Bhagavan creates, creating is not the same as rainfall falling. So why did the previous acharyas give such an analogy? And the previous acharyas said that the living entities receive the fructification of the seeds that they have planted previously. When was the first seed planted? So I will answer both these questions. First is, all analogies in the material world are imperfect, including analogies that are given in the Srimad Bhagavatam or scriptures. Sri Jiva Goswami says this in the Bhagavad Sandarbha. I will give you example of an analogy which is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself so that it will be easy to see. Can you please read the translation?
My dear Lord, you alone create the universes, O personality of Godhead. Desiring to create these universes, you create them, maintain them, and again wing them up by your own energies, which are under the control of your second energy called Yogamaya, just as a spider creates a cobweb by its own energy and again wings it up.
Oh, wonderful. This analogy seems more applicable. Huh? Bhagavan is like a spider, dear devotees. A spider creates a web from his own mouth, dances in the web for some time, and then eats that web. And that is how Bhagavan operates. This analogy is good? Okay. It is imperfect. A spider creates a web by eating something from outside. Bhagavan doesn't have to eat something from outside in order to create the universe. Bhagavan's source of energy is not outside of him. This is the first defect in the analogy. The second defect in the analogy is that a spider sometimes dies in his own web, you might have seen. But Bhagavan never dies in his own web. So, no analogy of the material world can perfectly be applicable to Bhagavan. Analogies are partially applicable. So the analogy that the acharyas have given of rainfall is only in the aspect of his neutrality. That aspect is which should be taken for the analogy. That is the answer to your first query. All right. Second query. When was the first seed planted? Where it is coming from. So I hope that this question doesn't lead to another question, but I will try to answer that question. There was no beginning. the living entities who are here were always here. Krishna says in the 11th canto. Please repeat after me. Anadya vidya yuktasya purushasya vedanam svatona sambhavadanya tatvagyo jnanado bhave. Anadi, can you see what is the meaning of anadi given here? Without beginning. Avidya, ignorance. So the ignorance of the living entity has been given an adjective in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is the adjective given? Anadi. What is the meaning of anadi? Na adiryasya, that which has no beginning in time. Translation. Because a person who has been covered by ignorance since time immemorial, this translation also is slightly, since beginningless time, alright, that is the precise, since beginningless time, is not capable of effecting his own self-realization. There must be some other personality who is in factual knowledge of the absolute truth and can impart this knowledge to him. This is the same thing that I was speaking for the last 2 days. The living entity does not have bhakti ras in their conditioned living entity does not have bhakti ras in the heart. Some Nitya Siddha who is possessed of bhakti ras has to gift it to the living entity who is conditioned. So Krishna has said that there was no first seed, because anadi means anadi avidya. Ignorance is beginningless for the conditioned living entities. When ignorance is beginningless, it means there was no time at which it began. But we can't wrap our minds around this concept, because for us everything had a beginning, including our body. We took birth at some point of time. We saw everything has 6 changes. So our ignorance, our existence in the material world should also have 6 changes. It should have begun at some point of time. But this is one thing which did not begin at any point of time. Therefore, it is impossible for the conditioned living entities to wrap their head around the fact that they have been here since beginningless time, according to Krishna's own words in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Once their ignorance is removed, then they are fit to return to Krishna's abode, go to Krishna's abode. Once they go to Krishna's abode, there is no coming back. So there was no first seed. There was no first seed. At any point of time, there was no first seed that was planted. Because beginningless ignorance is there. Anadi avidya. That is the verdict of Krishna himself. I will give you the reference, 11th canto, 22nd chapter, verse number 10. So there it had no beginning in time. So this answer may not satisfy the query, but it is an answer. It is the only answer that is given by the previous acharyas, that there is no beginning in time for the first seed which was planted.
So the seeds already exist.
Since beginningless time. That is the only answer I can give. See, that word I will not give up now, anadi. Okay, so anadi is without beginning. Our material existence is without beginning. It had no beginning in time. That is what it is. All right. Thank you. Yes.
Can you maybe say something about, you said that these pastimes of birth are all the internal all the time they are happening. So can you explain this? What happens when there is no material creation, how they are still exist?
Okay. When there is no material creation, at that point of time, is time active or inactive? The time factor is not there. So when there is no time factor, everything is paused. So your question that when the material universes are all taken back into Mahavishnu's body, where are Krishna's pastimes going on at that point of time? But for Krishna's pastimes to go on, they are activities. Activities require the presence of the time factor. Time factor itself is absent during destruction. So
But these activities are transcendental, they are not conditioned with time.
they are not conditioned.
In spiritual world also.
Yeah. In the spiritual world, they are not conditioned by time. But when they appear in the material world, they appear with the rules of the material world.
Because why I'm asking, I think I read something about this, I don't know where, maybe in Bhakti Samhita or somewhere. But I don't remember really good, maybe I can find it somewhere. That there are still planets, even then there are some planets created that this Western spirit can go on even at that time.
That is when only this universe is destroyed. Some planets within the universe still remain. But that is only in relation to this universe. But when all the universes are pulled back by Mahavishnu, they are in the body of Mahavishnu. At that time, all activity pauses. So for that particular point of time, then Krishna's pastimes are going on in the spiritual world continuously. And when again the material creation takes place, Krishna's activities resume in the material world. So Krishna's activities in the material world expect the time factor. But Krishna's activities in the spiritual world do not expect any time factor. That is the answer to the query. Right? Thank you. Yes.
In the answer of the first question, you said since beginningless we were conditioned, and that only we can be gifted with by Nitya Siddha, with Bhakti, and go to eternal abode. Are we gifted because we have some qualities, or maybe attitude, or we are just out of conditioned mercy of Nitya Siddha gifted?
Are we, the question is that some perfected devotee gives us perfection. What is the cause? Is it our attitude? Is it something we did in the past? Or is it simply by, there is no cause? Alright. So, Acharyas have tried to figure out what is the cause of receiving bhakti. And Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, if bhakti is received because of previous good activities, then bhakti will become subordinate to good activities. If bhakti is received because of previous bad activities, then bhakti will become subordinate to previous bad activities. So bhakti is not received because of previous good or bad activities. There is a term used in Shastra, Yadrichaya. Yadrichaya means you can see in the word for word without cause. There is no cause for some things. The only cause is that the pure devotee decided this living entity should be benefited. So the pure devotee did not see what is the background of that living entity. Now, Krishna is like rainfall. He is equal to everybody. But Krishna's devotees are not like rainfall. Therefore, you see, wherever Krishna's devotees decide to give bhakti, those people receive bhakti. And wherever Krishna's devotees do not decide to give bhakti, those people may not receive bhakti. In this, there is no biased nature of Krishna himself, because Krishna himself is not giving bhakti. It's not that Krishna knocked on our door and said, hey, come to the temple tomorrow. So some devotee came to us. And because devotees are having different natures, so according to the nature of a devotee, we received the initial seed of Krishna bhakti. So that is the answer to the query.
Can we help somehow to make it easier to Nitya Siddha devotee to give us bhakti? Can we do something? Or it is just
We can definitely do something to make a devotee favorable towards us. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are 3 things mentioned which one should do with dedication. And Krishna says about this, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Tad vidhi, understand, O Arjun, how to surrender to a guru. Pranipatena, first come and offer pranams, first give your obeisances to that particular person, because that person is going to give you what you have not received for unlimited lives in the past. So first duty is pranipat, fall down at the feet of such a person. Pariprashna, ask them questions because they know the answers. And don't just ask questions, sevaya, do something which will benefit them. Do something to serve them. Because a grateful person doesn't simply receive, they also know what is the culture of giving back. So if we are grateful, then we will give back, try to give back. Although what the Guru teaches, even one alphabet if the Guru teaches properly, there is nothing which can be given to pay back the debt. Even one alphabet cannot be paid back. One proper alphabet taught by the Guru cannot be paid back by giving any material object. Because what the Guru gave was not material. And you cannot give anything material in exchange to pay back the Guru. I remember in my childhood, my grammar teacher, he was very strict, Sanskrit grammar. So because of him, I managed to learn something nice, Sanskrit grammar. If I am late by 5 minutes for the class, he will tell me to come next day. And if I have not memorized so many tables and sutras that he has given, he will be standing with a stick in his hand. In those days, we would get the stick. But because of him, I learnt. After learning for many years, although I used to give him some dakshina, some money as a token of gratitude, but I still asked him, is there something I can give you because I learnt from you? So he told me that when he learnt from his Guru, he learnt for 12 years. And after learning for 12 years, his Guru was a sannyasi, a renunciate. He asked his Guru if he can give something. His Guru said, can you give me 2 gloves? You know what is glove? Because of teaching you, my throat has become rattled. For the next batch, I need gloves. I said, 2 gloves? Yeah, that is all I need. So this is how the tradition was. There is nothing you can give to pay back. But still we should try to do some seva. And when they see that we have that genuineness in us, because they want to see if a particular candidate has genuineness in them, the genuineness to learn, the fire in the stomach, if they really want to, assimilate what is being taught, then they will very mercifully gift it. But they will not give it to somebody who is already satisfied, I don't need it. Or somebody who is pretending, because they are good at finding out who is pretending and who is not pretending. So this is how one should approach a person, and one should try to render some service to them, and one should compulsorily ask questions. The test of the Guru is you ask the questions and the Guru is able to give you those satisfactory answers. And by those satisfactory answers, the knots in the heart are opened one at a time. That is what the Guru does. He cuts the knots in the heart. Oh, I had this doubt for 10 years. Then I asked this person. Then my knot was cut. Oh, you understand that you have met somebody who is of the caliber of, a Guru. And to such a person, if they cut your knot of doubt which has been lingering in your heart for so many years, then should we reciprocate or not reciprocate? Of course we should reciprocate. Who else would have solved our doubts which were persisting since many lifetimes? You cannot pay money to solve those doubts. Even the biggest, richest people, the doubts that they have in their hearts, they have millions of euros, but they don't have the proper person to whom they can ask those doubts. So it is not a matter of money. It is actually a matter of getting the good fortune and serving such a person. So that is the answer to your query. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Oh yes, thank you.
I hope I will be able to form what I want to say. I just heard your lectures. You gave some 3 parts lecture about performing devotional service in difficult, fearful times, and you were speaking about 3 kinds of persons: non-devotees who were turning to God, devotees, and pure devotees. And then you said that because we spoke about this material world, that we are in the material world, and Krishna, which we spoke about now, is so above that he actually doesn't understand our suffering. And then you explained why actually Krishna turns to us when we pray to him. Poslušala sem lekcije od Hari Parshad Prabhuja, ko je razlagal kako se 3 različne vrste oseb obrnejo k Bogu. Eni so ne bakte, bakte in pa čisti bakte. In potem je povedal, da pravzaprav je Krišna tako visoko nad tem trpljenjem v materialnem svetu, da on sploh ne razume, kaj je to materialno trpljenje. In kako se obrniti k Krišni, da se bo on dejansko odzval na naše prošnje.
Okay. So, the question is, if God sees there is so much suffering in the world, why doesn't God do something about it? That's a perennial question that is asked. There's so much suffering in the world, why doesn't God do something about it? And the answer to that was given by Sri Jiva Goswami, and I quoted his answer. So I will ask a few questions and you please answer in yes or no. Is Krishna's body material? Can a person who is having a spiritual body experience material pain? So since Krishna's body is not material, does Krishna have experience of material pain? They oh, okay, wonderful. See, that is where the difficulty arises. He is Bhagavan, he is supposed to understand everything. So he should understand material pain. It is correct. He understands in an indirect way, not in a direct way. Because if Krishna has to understand material pain directly, Krishna will have to accept which body? Material. And if Krishna accepts a material body, material nature will become stronger than Krishna. Maya will become stronger than Bhagavan, and that is what you call Mayavad. When Maya becomes stronger than Bhagavan, that philosophy is called which Vad? Mayavad. But, yes, Prabhu.
Well, there is actually no material energies. Since all came from Krishna, Krishna is spiritual, so just in one sense there is material energy, but in another sense it's all spiritual.
Material energy is real.
I'm not saying it's material.
So, since we accept that material energy is real, the Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding of Bhagavan is that Bhagavan is somebody who indirectly understands material suffering, not directly. Krishna has no direct experience of material suffering. Because if Krishna would have direct experience of material suffering, Krishna's entire body and pastimes will become material. Therefore, Krishna's experience of material suffering is indirect, not direct. Krishna understands. When he sees that a particular living entity is suffering, he understands, but not by first-hand experience. Second-hand experience. It is Maya who shows some symptoms in the living entities, that this living entity is in pain, this living entity is happy. Krishna does not even have experience of material happiness. Does Krishna have a material body? Yes or no? So somebody who doesn't have a material body, can they experience material happiness? Krishna has indirect experience of material happiness. Krishna has indirect experience of material misery. Therefore, when Krishna sees some living entity is in happiness, some living entity is in misery, Krishna is equal to them. But when a particular living entity turns towards Krishna and they develop the first symptom of bhakti, that is when Krishna understands that this person is now trying to enter into my world. That is when Krishna becomes favorable towards that living entity. And this is clearly given in the Bhagavad Gita. Please repeat. Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshyosti na priyah. Samoham, I am equal. Sarva bhuteshu, for all living entities I am equal. Na me dveshyosti, I don't envy anybody. Na priya, I don't favor anybody. But he contradicts himself in the immediate next two lines. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. But ye bhajanti, if they start taking an interest in spiritual life and they perform bhakti, then I always personally take care of them, I stay within them and they are always within my mind. So this is the translation by Prabhupada. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone, I am equal to all. The statement should have ended there. Immediately after that, but Hare Krishna, you are contradicting your previous statement. But whosoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. Arey, what happened to your equal status? Huh? Oh no, now he is interacting with me directly. So now I accept him as a friend. So dear devotees, Bhagavan reciprocates for the suffering of those who have turned towards him. But for all those who have not turned towards him, Bhagavan remains neutral. Sometimes they will enjoy in the world, sometimes they will suffer in the world. So we see only those entities who are suffering right now. And our vision is magnified. Oh my goodness, why is Bhagavan not doing something about these people? But we don't see other set of living entities who are enjoying. And we don't say, why doesn't Bhagavan do something about these people? Isn't it? Huh? So, Bhagavan also says, why are you asking only about the people who are suffering? You should also ask about the people who are enjoying. Na? Both these people have turned away from me. Actually, both of them are inauspicious situations. Just that somebody who is suffering, you consider that to be more inauspicious. Isn't it? Actually, both situations are inauspicious. So dear devotees, it is very important to understand that from Bhagavan's point of view, we see from our limited point of view, Bhagavan should do something for this situation. Today my laptop broke down. Oh my goodness, now what will I do? Huh? Krishna, why did you do this? You should do something about my situation. Krishna laughing and saying, foolish person, why should I? Huh? So, in our mind, our situations are highly magnified. For that reason, we see only from our limited perspective. Look at the world from an airplane. Usually when I travel in an airplane, one thing I try to do is look at the world from an airplane and then see who is suffering and who is enjoying. Most of our problems disappear in an airplane when we look at the world. When we see that, yeah, for some time he may be suffering, after some time he'll be okay, that's all right. So in the grand cosmos of things, in the macrocosm of existence, from Bhagavan's point of view, it is good that he stays neutral. Otherwise what will happen? Let me tell you. The living entities are very intelligent. They will quickly discover that God reciprocates with those who are suffering. And they will voluntarily put themselves in what? There's one way to reach God. That is to suffer. That is not how it works. So because Bhagavan knows, Bhagavan has closed all material gates of reaching him. There's only one gate of accessing him, that is bhakti. Suffering is not a gateway of accessing Bhagavan. This Siddhanta should be understood. In many religions across the world, people put themselves in suffering in order to get closer to God. In Vedic religion, there is Ashtanga Yoga, and there is a yogic practice of sitting under the sun with fire around you. Or in other religions, amongst the Muslims, there is Shia Muslims, and then they had that war of Karbala, as far as I remember. Hassan and Hussein, they sacrificed their lives, and the Shia Muslims, they get together and they self-inflict wounds upon themselves. How many of us have seen that? Yes? So, as an expression of sharing the suffering of Hassan and Hussein, who died in the war of Karbala, that is sacrifice. So, there are many, around the world, there are many religions. For example, when Jesus Christ is crucified, he's an example of he's taking the suffering of the entirety of humanity upon himself. And so those who suffer for the cause of Jesus Christ are considered to be close to God. Those priests who went first to Japan and they were crucified in Japan, they were rendering a very good service to the cause of Jesus Christ according to the church, because they were following in the footsteps of Christ and taking the suffering that Christ took upon him. They were sharing in that suffering, and that is what brings them close to God. So many religions across the world have this concept that suffering brings you closer to God, including some aspects of Vedic religion. But Vedanta, and especially Krishna in the Gita, says, I am equal to everybody. I am equal to everybody. I am not partial to anybody. So this is the philosophical conclusion. Otherwise, those who would have put themselves voluntarily in suffering, they would have immediately attracted the mercy of Krishna. But that is not how it works. I hope that is clear. Krishna doesn't have a direct idea of what is material enjoyment or material suffering. Krishna's view is the macrocosmic view of the universe, as well as the microcosmic view as the Paramatma. But in both views, he does not directly relate to the material happiness or material suffering. He relates only to one thing, that is bhakti, because bhakti is the only spiritual entity present within the material universe. So that is the answer to your query. I hope that is satisfactory. Sure.
One verse, found it in the gallery. You know it for sure. Govardhana prashtanavam vaham kalinda kanya navanila padma vrindavana garatamala shakti tapatrayasya bivanam.
Karotu. Govardhana Prastha Navambuvaha Kalinda Kanya Navanila Padma Vrindavanodara Tamal Shakhi Tapatrayasya Bibhavam Karotu. This is the translation. May Lord Krishna, who is a fresh rain cloud over Govardhan hill, a freshly blossomed blue lotus in the Yamuna river, and a great tamal tree in Vrindavan forest, protect me from the threefold miseries of material existence. So what is the question?
I was just, I was reading Padyavari and I was somehow in the thoughts how to turn to God, because you were speaking, actually it's only bhakti which brings us closer to God. And then I read these words and I said, why?
Why? Yeah. So Sri Rupa Goswami has brought out all the moods of the previous devotees. Some devotees had this mood that may Krishna protect me from the material distresses. But for what purpose? Because I wish to invest my mind more and more in him, and the material disturbances are becoming an obstacle for myself. So the underlying purpose is not so that I can become comfortable in this world. The underlying purpose is there in the first three lines. Govardhana Prastha Navambuva is a fresh rain cloud under Govardhan. He is already having these remembrances. So in order to facilitate his remembrance, he is asking for mitigation of material suffering, which the Gaudiya Vaishnavas may not ask for, but it is a mood of one of the previous devotees. So Sri Rupa Goswami has included it in his compilation. That is the answer. All right? Thank you. Yeah.
So I just popped one thing in my mind when you were talking about like suffering, and we don't get closer to that Krishna doesn't notice us if we are suffering. But I was just thinking, like, devotees do so many austerities, and that's kind of inflicting suffering on our material bodies. So how would you explain that in this?
It's not that Krishna doesn't see our suffering. Krishna sees our suffering, and he knows indirectly that this living entity is in a state known as suffering. He sees another living entity, this living entity is in a state known as happiness. But he doesn't act upon it because he is equal to all living entities. He lets the living entity switch between happiness and distress. Because one thing is for sure, every distress has an end, and every happiness or joy also is going to have an end. So Krishna is aware of that fact. Your question is, devotees take so many austerities and they trouble their bodies. But this is not the understanding of devotional service. Devotees don't take austerities to trouble their bodies. Whatever austerities the devotees take is for facilitation of their remembrance of Krishna. And there is a very nice verse, I'll try to remember it. It is, in any case, the austerities that devotees perform is not for the sake of troubling their bodies. Tapasa tatah kim. See, Krishna gives remembrance. Yes. In 11.3.26, please repeat after me, dear devotees. Aradhito yadi haris tapasa tatah kim. Naradhito yadi haris tapasa tatah kim. So you please read the highlighted translation.
If one is worshipping Lord Hari, what is the use of performing
Extraneous.
extraneous penance? And if one is not worshipping Lord Hari, no such penance will save one.
If one is worshipping Hari, what is the use of austerity? And if one is not worshipping Hari, what is the use of austerity? See the verse? If one is worshipping Krishna, what is the use of performing austerity? Because you've already reached the goal. And if one is not worshipping Krishna, what is the use of austerity? Because it is all useless without worship of Krishna. Actually, the devotee's austerity is not for troubling the body. And if somebody has told you that, then maybe you should change that understanding. We don't accept any austerity for the sake of troubling the body. Krishna has said that such austerity is not beneficial for bhakti. Na jnanam, na cha vairagyam. Eleventh canto 20th chapter verse 31. Krishna says, Tasman mad bhakti yuktasya yogino vai madatmanah na jnanam na cha vairagyam prayah shreyo bhavediha. Please read the translation.
Therefore, for a devotee engaged in my loving service with mind fixed on me, the cultivation of knowledge and renunciation is generally not the means of achieving the highest platform within this world.
So cultivation of knowledge, which knowledge? Impersonal Vedanta knowledge. And the cultivation of renunciation and austerities is not the recommended way for a devotee. So when we are fasting on Ekadashi, for example, the devotees fast on Ekadashi, what is the purpose? To trouble the body? No. So what is the purpose? To give more time so that we can perform our bhakti in a more dedicated manner. Now every devotee can decide for themselves. Some devotees may feel that I can skip cooking altogether, I will remain favorable. Some devotee will think if I skip cooking altogether, I will become most unfavorable towards Krishna. Main condition is to maintain favorability towards Krishna. Whatever keeps you favorable towards Krishna, that is the level of austerity you are supposed to accept. As soon as favorability is broken, your bhakti is broken. So for example, I'll ask you, on a fasting day like Ekadashi, what will keep you most favorable towards Krishna? Not eating, or eating once, or eating twice? Eating simple. Little less, alright. That's good. So see, this is good. Your mind has agreed to the condition. I will eat simple. I will eat once and not cooked, but maybe raw fruits, etc. So then you follow that standard and you keep most favorable towards Krishna. The most important condition of bhakti is favorability. If that condition is broken, then there is no question of bhakti. So then you render that Ekadashi and you increase your remembrance of Krishna. Then will you look forward to the next Ekadashi or will you run away from the next Ekadashi? That is what we are supposed to do. Right? Oh no, Ekadashi is tomorrow. So that is, that is a difficult situation to be in. Therefore, one should know what is the purpose of all of the austerities that one performs. The purpose of austerities is to become more and more favorable towards Krishna. And what makes you more favorable is the level of austerity, that level of tapasya that we should perform. So that is the answer. Alright? This is a good understanding? Alright. Any other austerity which somebody told you which you found troublesome to the body?
I wouldn't say troublesome for the body, that like it just seems that for me when I see like what certain devotees did, it's like wow, that's like impossible for me. And then I feel like I could never reach that, I could never do that because my body cannot do it, therefore I kind of like feel bad.
This feeling that I can never reach that, I can never do that, that feeling is the eligibility for bhakti. Somebody who has faith in some capabilities, those are not the people who can actually render bhakti. People who have lost out in life completely, they are the most eligible candidates for performing bhakti. Yeah. That is the eligibility for bhakti. And therefore, Please repeat. Tenadhita shrutigana nopasita mahattama avrata tapta tapasah matsangan mamupagata. Krishna says to Uddhav, 11th canto, 12th chapter, verse number 7. The persons I have mentioned, in the previous verse he mentioned many devotees, did not undergo serious study of the Vedic literature, nor did they worship great saintly persons, nor did they execute severe vows or austerities. Simply by association with me and my devotees they achieved me. So there is no precondition for achieving Krishna. Last time I heard, Krishna himself removed all the conditions. So nobody can speak against Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the Praman, 24 karat gold. So anybody who is executing austerities in order to gain social credit needs to get themselves checked. I hope you are able to understand. If somebody advertised their austerity in front of you, perhaps they should not be doing that, because that is not recommended. One of the characteristics of a devotee is kritasya aparikirtanam. Krishna will say, not advertising one's devotional activities. So, if you feel that I am not eligible, I cannot reach that stage, congratulations, you are having the same feeling as the previous acharyas. Yeah, I am not joking. Rupa Goswami had the same feeling. Prachinanam bhajanamatulam dushkaram shrindvato me nairashyena jvalati hridayam bhakti leshalasasya. Rupa Goswami. I am too weak and too lazy to do even the smallest devotional service. So when I hear of the peerless and difficult to perform services performed by great devotees in ancient times, my heart burns with despair. Is this your condition? Wow, you're you're like-minded to Srila Rupa Goswami, huh? Yeah, Rupa Nuga. Now you are eligible to perform bhakti nicely. It's very nice. I'll give a very simple sutra. In bhakti, to feel disqualified is the only qualification. That's very good. Now that you feel disqualified, it's a good qualification. And those who feel qualified, that I attained something, those people actually become disqualified. So it's always good to feel this disqualification. And you render service according to your capabilities, always trying to progress ahead. That is good. Alright? You don't have to, you don't have to fulfill any specific criteria to please Krishna. Krishna is pleased by his own desire. He may not be pleased by so many austerities, but he may be pleased by a simple activity of bhakti. And that is the beauty of the path of bhakti yoga. Alright? Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
But when we feel like this, we might feel frustrated. Rupa Goswami maybe felt something else, so what is the difference? Maybe mood or attitude or
Yeah. So when we feel like this, we may feel frustrated. I agree. Why does Rupa Goswami not feel frustrated? What is there in him which is not in us? So there is something called as dhairya. Utsahat nischayat dhairyat. He has that patience that I will not give up the path despite delay. Because what else is there to do in the world outside? Is there any meaningful activity in the world besides offering our love to Bhagavan? If you think about it, there is no meaningful activity remaining in the world. One who comes to that conclusion, even after frustration, they will maintain their, dhairya, their persistence. Because, frankly speaking, if you give up your persistence, and if we go outside in the world, what is there in the world outside? If you look at the activities in the world outside, there is not a single activity that is worth chasing. Especially not the earning of money. Because money is troublesome in all respects. All respects. I am quoting this verse to hammer the point. Arthasya sadhane siddhe utkarshe rakshane vyaye nashopabhoga ayasas trasas chinta brahmo nrina. Prabhu, you are able to see the... can you read, Prabhuji? You cannot see. Okay. In the earning, attainment, increase, protection, expense, loss, and enjoyment of wealth, all men experience great labor, fear, anxiety, and delusion. I'll make it simple. Arthasya, for money, sadhane. In earning money, there is distress. Yes or no? 100%. Siddhe, after money has been earned, there is distress. Oh, I could have earned more. Of course, yes. Is there distress? Yes or no? Yes. Utkarshe, in increasing money, which stock market should I in, which, mutual fund, what do they call it? Should I invest so that I don't experience a loss? In increasing money, is there distress or no distress? Rakshane, in protecting money from the government and income tax, is there distress? Yes or no? Vyaye, in spending money. In this aspect, there should be happiness. So I'll tell you one thing. One day I went to one Govindas. I'll not name which Govindas, okay? It was not this Govindas, somewhere else, all right? So one day I went to a Govindas, and it was buffet. You pay a fixed price and you eat as much as you want. So the price was 600 Indian rupees. So I paid 600 Indian rupees, which is 7 euros or something around there. 7 euros. And when I started eating, very quickly I felt that my stomach is full. So another devotee told me, Prabhuji, today they added baking soda to all the ingredients. And baking soda has a nature, if you add it to food, it very quickly makes you full. So they added baking soda that day. So I paid 600 rupees and I ate only 200 rupees worth of food. When I came out, my hand was very... I should have taken some prasad at home today, So then my mind told me, that day I realized, even in spending money, I am not happy. See how miserable I am. At least in spending money, I should have been happy. But look at me. Even in spending money, I am not happy. What to speak of nasha, if money gets lost? Somebody steals money. Upabhoga, or somebody else enjoys my money. Oh my goodness. Ayasa, there is tremendous distress, trasa, anxiety, chinta, delusion for all human beings. So what is there to do in the world outside, which, at least devotional service is not like that. In earning devotional service, there is bliss. You don't need to maintain bhakti. Krishna maintains whatever bhakti we have performed. In increasing bhakti, there is bliss. And in exchanging bhakti with Krishna for rasa, there is always bliss. And bhakti cannot be lost, and it cannot be taken by anybody else. So what is there to do in the world outside? Easily, therefore, Rupa Goswami he had done everything, all material activities under Nawab Hussain Shah. He was working as a minister. All that material life was over for him, long back. So he knew there was only one thing to do. And when we reach that conclusion, there is no going back. Isn't it? ठीक है. So, anybody else wants to ask something? Yes, Prabhu.
I recently listened to the podcast that you did with Namaras Group. It was a couple of years back, in which you mentioned that what you would like to see more in ISKCON is the culture of Harikatha, and how we have such a beautiful culture of Kirtan, but we don't have maybe such a beautiful culture of reciting and listening to Harikatha. And my question to you regarding this is that for me, from a practical standpoint, it seems that the Kirtan is very accessible, because anybody can sing. It's just 3 words over and over again, and it's so beautiful. But when it comes to Harikatha, it seems to me like you need to have a very qualified speaker and a qualified audience in order to for a beautiful thing to happen. So my question to you is, how would you practically see the solution so that more beautiful Harikatha is happening all around our society?
So that's a very nice question, because in practicality we see that it's easy to start singing. Of course it is easy. But if we see, singing is also an art. There is one thing that is taking a harmonium and just singing like I sing. I have no training, formal training in singing. Neither do I understand the ragas or what pleases Krishna at what point of time. So I can take a harmonium and sing. But singing, actually, if we take it as a vidya, as a science, you can spend a decade to learn what is actually singing from the previous acharyas, and then you can identify the ragas which Krishna likes to hear at certain points of time. Similar is the case with Harikatha. Anybody can take a mic and speak. That's not a problem. But to have effective Harikatha, it takes decades of practice. The thing with singing is, it's easy to take a tune from somebody else and copy it. Isn't it? It's very easy, because you heard a good tune, wow, now it's mine. But which rag? Forget about rag. But what are the swaras involved in it? No, I don't care for that. Just sing, just copy the note somehow and sing it. So devotees become happy. Wow, Prabhu, you sung very nicely. I don't have to tell them from whom I copied it. Right? Same thing can happen with Harikatha. I can listen to somebody and then I just copy paste it as it is, and I don't give credit. So it's also easy relatively to give good Harikatha if you know how to copy without mentioning your sources. Isn't it? But the difficult thing is to train oneself in the art, even when it comes to kirtan. So, and the most difficult thing, whether kirtan or katha, is to have that genuine mood of attraction towards Bhagavan. The arts, everything is secondary. Main thing is to have that genuine mood of attraction towards Bhagavan. So, kirtan seems immediately accessible because people start dancing, they immediately get involved. But it is also necessary for them to understand the tattvas, the siddhantas in the sampradaya, if they have to make sustainable progress. Because without understanding the tattva, it will be difficult to sustain oneself on the path of bhakti. So all those who perform kirtan nicely, they also explain Nam Tattva. What is Krishna Nam? How is it non-different from Krishna? All these things they should know and they should explain to others. I would like to see a culture more of Harikatha, because I have seen that if done effectively and nicely, it can inspire devotees in ways, that completely revolutionizes their lives. So when good speakers speak Harikatha, often the audience comes to them and says, I never heard such a katha, I am so thankful, my doubts were resolved. So that is the effect of speaking good Harikatha. But it requires time, because Harikatha is good. You can copy somebody's katha and give it. Solving doubts is not copy paste. To solve doubts, you need to have that training. That what is the answer of that particular, what is the doubt and the precise answer of that doubt. So that will require training. So it's important to have that training even in singing Harinam. There are shortcuts in singing Harinam. There are shortcuts in speaking Harikatha. But Jai Shri Shri Panchatattva ki Jai. But if we truly love our seva, then we will explore the genuine vidya, the knowledge that is there in the tradition behind it. I will very quickly say this. If we have gone, have you gone to Sri Radharaman Mandir in Vrindavan?
Yes.
Have you heard the kirtan?
Yes.
What is the difference between that kirtan you have heard there and the kirtan you have heard elsewhere?
It seems to be more from the heart,
Okay.
authentic.
Okay. And those who are singing there, are they copying tunes or have they genuinely learnt all the ragas?
I think it's probably both.
Yeah. Yeah. But those who are experienced singers there, they are the ones who have taken the time to learn the art. And they are singing with their heart. And it is a traditional temple, Goswami temple, connected to Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And they were very close friends with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the entire lineage of Sri Radharaman Mandir. Very close friends with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So there's a lot to learn even in the sphere of kirtan. How to perform kirtan that is, it affects the heart of the listeners. Not simply makes them dance. Making them dance is good. But also affects their heart in a certain way that they become more favorable towards Bhagavan. So that is that sort of kirtan. Kirtan can make them cry also. It can make them cry. But it needs a singer of that particular mood and caliber. So Harikatha can also do that. It can make people cry. Out of frustration or out of joy. But it needs a speaker of that caliber to bring that change in the audience. I like to see more of Harikatha, because Harikatha is also kirtan. Kirtan is not only Nam Kirtan, Rupa Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, Lila Kirtan is also Kirtan. To sing the qualities, form, pastimes, that is also considered as Kirtan by Sri Rupa Goswami. So what I am trying to do right now is also Kirtan, although I don't have a harmonium and musical instruments. But any glorification of Krishna is actually Kirtan. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. So, Ananta Prabhu, should we take a few questions or should we pause? Oh, I can take? One or two. Chalo, theek hai. Ananta Prabhu gives permission. So, we are... I am happy to answer more queries. Yes, anybody else? Which Mataji had it? Yes.
How can we understand verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita in which it is said that pure Krishna love is eternally established in very entities, and that we don't need some other source to gain it, and that it is awakened by chanting in connection to that verse that we were speaking.
Yeah. So this is the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita that you are referring to. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabu Naya Shravan Adi Shuddha Chitte Karaya Udaya. So it says Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema is eternally perfected. Sadhya Kabu Naya. It is never to be achieved. So it is the same thing that I was saying. By a movement of material senses, you cannot achieve Krishna Prem. Krishna Prem is eternally present. But eternally present where? That is the question. So it is eternally present in the heart of the Nitya Siddha, eternal associates of Krishna, and there is a potential for us to receive it. We have the container. So that because that potential is there within us, therefore the acharyas say that the potential is eternally present within us. We can receive it. But we have to perform Shravan Kirtan and nourish it in order to receive it fully from a qualified devotee. So for example, I will make this clearer. The conditioned living entities and the liberated living entities are two different living entities. The conditioned living entity also has a container for receiving rasa, Krishna Bhakti rasa. But because that container is there, the acharyas have said that Krishna Bhakti rasa is potentially present. Because you have the container, only it needs to be filled at this point of time. You perform Shravan Kirtan and you receive it from a pure devotee of Krishna. Then you will find that because you have the container, you receive it from a pure devotee and you relish that bhakti ras always. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, he exhibited the first symptoms of bhakti ras after meeting whom? Sri Ishwar Puri. It was not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suddenly started chanting and dancing and then developed bhakti and then met Ishwar Puri. Even if he is Bhagavan, first he has to meet a pure devotee. He is setting an example. First you have to meet a pure devotee and receive it as a gift from a pure devotee. Because this verse should be seen in connection with Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. The translation is, according to their karma, all living entities are wandering through the entire universe. And out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of bhakti. So it is very clear that the potential is there. Therefore the acharyas say eternally there is a potential to experience bhakti ras. But when you look at it in certain depth, you find out that it is received actually. Bhakti is received from an existing devotee. It cannot be produced by movement of the senses. So that is what is the conclusion in this regard. Alright? Yes.
Is our ignorance is the result of our karma, or are we conditioned to be ignorant?
Ignorance is not a result. Ignorance is beginningless. I said, no? And what is beginningless cannot have a cause.
So we were conditioned.
Yeah. We were not conditioned. As soon as you add conditioned, ed, the suffix ed, it automatically adds a point of time. You never conditioned at a specific point of time. There is no point of time at which Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, Anadi Avidya, beginningless ignorance is what it is. Srila Prabhupada has also, in order to make us understand sometimes, Prabhupada has also explained it in a way so that it can become easy for us. There were some living entities who don't want to be with Krishna. They have turned away from Krishna.
Why?
So that raises another question, isn't it? Therefore, that is a way of explaining things. If you look into the scriptures, you will find that actually there was no cause. It is beginningless. But because living entities cannot wrap their heads around beginningless, therefore acharyas sometimes give some reasons. But as soon as you give reasons, suddenly the questions arise. Why?
What is the choice then?
What is the choice then, right? So therefore, that opens an entire Pandora's box of questions. Therefore, I told you it is beginningless. What the Srimad Bhagavatam says, there is no cause to it. There is no cause to it. But it is beginningless, but it is not endless. You can end it at a certain point. The good thing is, it's not endless. You can end it at a certain point of time. Alright? Okay, thank you. Okay, we should pause here, Prabhuji, or one more. Okay, chalo. Who wants to ask the final question? Nashto moha spritir labdva. Oh no. So everybody's satisfied. Oh yes, there's one query.
Did they fall from the material?
Arre wow. Ananta Prabhu said one question. So, this question has created a lot of differences of opinion in the society. There are two prominent opinions about this particular question. One opinion is that we fell at a certain point of time because we disobeyed and became envious of Krishna. And the other opinion is that beginningless.
Which is your favorite?
Which is the favorite. So, in the Brihad Bhagavatamritam, Sri Sanatana Goswami says something. I will only point the verse and you can read the translation, all right? And then I will not speak anything further on the subject matter, all right? Brihad Bhagavatamritam 2:4-45. Namatsaryaadayo dosha santi kasyapi teshu hi guna svabhavika bhanti nitya satya sahasrashah. This verse is describing the residents of the spiritual world, the living entities of the spiritual world. You can read, Prabhuji? No? Okay. Can you read loudly? Please read loudly.
Absent among them are faults like envy, and their innate good qualities shine forth forever for thousands.
So there is one quality which is absent in the residents of the spiritual world. And which quality is pointed by Sri Sanatana Goswami? So I will not say anything further. All right? Those who are intelligent will understand. Chalo, I'll pause here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki